Greetings, my friends, and welcome back to this new Halloween episode. Well, this is the second time I will do a video of Halloween. The last time I made was the Splatterhouse video. I gotta be honest, the Splatterhouse video was a neat idea, but it was poorly implemented because one, I filmed in dark, second, I was talking like a maniac most of the time. But if you haven't seen the video, though it's quite old, click on the notification you see up here if you desire, but you get the idea. Well, Splatterhouse was a great series, sincerely, but this time I'm going to talk about just one game on Halloween. Obviously I will go out with another game, but this time another time. Anyways, today I'm going to review something that everyone knows it, aside from, you see behind me, the good old Resident Evil. Well, I did review the game already, though it was the N64 version. Well, there's the PlayStation version, as you can see right here. And I had it running in the background because I got one quick peek, a quick idea that the game I'm going to review, and that is Super Ghouls and Ghosts. So, this is the game right here. So why I'm reviewing this game, this particular? Well, believe it or not, this is a game that is nostalgic for me, and I remember playing the most on the Super Nintendo. And I used to be good at this game, but nowadays I'm very rusty at it. So I can only get up to level 5 normally, but in the old days I can beat the game in a matter of hours. But nowadays I can only get to level 5 all the time because I always get stuck in level 4, and by the time I was 5, I was completely demolished, beat up. Anyways, so this is one of those games that everyone remembers on the Super Nintendo, and believe it or not, this is one of the last Capcom release on the year 1991. 1991, remember, like I mentioned, Final Fight was the first on the Snes, then it was US Squadron, and then some others, but this is the last that ended in 1991, because by the next year it was the port of Street Fighter 2. But I'm not gonna go to Street Fighter right now. This is Halloween, and we know wanna go to something amazing. Now, also, this is the game I'm gonna show to review this game. Now, this game is miles better than the predecessor on the NES and the Genesis version. Well, most people seem to say that, oh, the Genesis is the same as this SNES, but no, my friend, it is completely wrong. The Genesis version is the arcade version, which is called Ghouls and Ghosts, when in Japanese is Chōmakaimura. Now, better story. In 1984, a new member of Capcom arrived at the team. That guy is Fujiwara. Fujiwara, or his complete name, Tokuro Fujiwara. I'll put the name right here, so you're familiar. Well, Fujiwara was an employee of Konami before Capcom and created some other games. The game that he created, I don't remember exactly. I'll put the name that he made. It's just a simple game he made on Konami, but then he left for more creative freedom. So, he joined the Capcom to create what was known as the 1940 series, the shooters, the vertical shooter. So he created that with a colleague. Then he created one of the most iconic games from Capcom and the franchise, Ghosts and Goblins. A brutal, super, ultra hard arcade game and a quarter muncher. That game it makes the life hard on you. It goes code after code after code until finally you can't do anymore. It's a game that demands a lot of skills. Lots of skills. And this is the beginning of the hardcore gamers. This is not a casual or something, no. This is hardcore, 100% games that really want to put the challenge and burn to death as a result. So Ghosts and Goblins was a game that really raged a lot of people because of the difficulty. And of course, the level design. Unfortunately, as time went on, the original game, hasn't aged very well when it comes to, well, level design. because you get to defeat the enemies in the cheap spot, you have to defeat enemies. But I would like to review Ghouls and Ghosts, but on the NES, which is, by the way, the NES version of Ghosts and Goblins, sorry, was not made by Capcom. It was published by Capcom, but it was made by Micronics, a company that is Japanese who port Ghosts and Goblins, Ikari Warriors, and so many other Capcom and SNK games on the NES before they went to developer themselves, which this game they did by them. As a result, Thoguht made an excellent job. Ghouls and Goblins was available on all versions, including the Specky Commodore 64, which was well known on the pop. It was really popular. The music, it was composed by obviously I'll put in the composer, which I don't remember very well. So he composed it, but in the Commodore version was not composed by that particular person. It was made by Team Fallen, which you guessed it, that was the man on many on games that are not great but had great music. The Commodore version, he composed the games, which was really crazy that the Commodore 64 was capabilities. So as a result, most people do remember the Commodore and the NES version really well. Those are the most popular ones. Even the Commodore version was available on all over, even North America, which is one of the few computer games, board games, that are right there, unlike others. The original game was a success, but I can mention, hasn't aged that well, and is the most difficult of the bunch. So you have to be really masochist to beat it. Oh! 100% watch the AVGN video. One of my favorite videos of him. I'll leave the link down below if you want to watch AVGN. He did an amazing video and I laughed out of it. And of course the iconic get the dagger or get the knife. Why the dagger and the knife? Because they shoot faster. Some people prefer the fireball, which is the most powerful, but it's notoriously slow as nails. As a result, most people chose the dagger, which is the main weapon. That was the iconic quote from him. Also, Johnny, from someone called Johnny, as well as Johnny, and many YouTubers reviewed the saga, but I'm not going to go into too much. So again, the links are down below if you want to check it out. Now, the sequel, Ghouls and Ghosts. Ghouls and Ghosts obviously is the sequel of Ghosts and Goblins. The same creator, Fujiwara, made the game much more easier and less more group to the people. It's still brutally hard though. Don't be led fooled by it, because it's easier, but it's still brutally hard. But the one thing that changed is you guessed it, the gameplay. You can shoot up and down. Not only you can shoot left and right, you can shoot up and down with ease and make it much easier. In fact, Joe from Game Shack actually preferred that game over the Super Nintendo version. He told that the up and down is the key and that didn't care for the double jump, which understandable, that's his preference as a result. And it was a great game from the arcade. It was developed for the CPS-1, which is one of the first arcade hardware games. And the Genesis version was actually created by the ground up by the creator of Sonic, Yuji Naka. He reprogrammed the entire game from scratch for the Sega Genesis, although it was our early title for the Sega Genesis. Again, check out either John Millennium or Game Shack, which explains both. Now, that's the story. Now we talk about this game, which is the topic of this video. So why this game in particular? Fujiwara want to make a game that is easy for the home console player, rather than the arcade, which is a coat of munchers. This is a game that is tolerable, that you can make easy and more grip on the player, and not just pun, after death, punishing the player even more. This is one of the games that is easier than him, but don't let that fool you. It's still a brutal game, but not as brutal as the original or the predecessor, Ghouls and Ghosts. It's much easier. It is, in fact, the easiest of the franchise, but once again, I don't let fool that. It's still a brutal game. Even in the professional difficulty, it's still brutal. As a result, you play as, obviously, Sir Arthur in the rescue of the Princess Prim, who was captured by the demons by the mightiest Emperor, Emperor Sardius, which in Japanese is another name. I'll put the Japanese name. As a result, you have to defeat the Emperor and get the Princess Prim. But to defeat her, you need the bracelet. Same which you guessed it, Ghost and Goblins is one of those games that it will not be beaten unless you beat twice. Twice. That means once you beat once you defeat the final boss of the first part, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and do the same thing. Which a lot of people are not the biggest fan of, but I do like that approach because it makes me even better and better and better. Plus, more in the rage mode, which, you know me, I'm a huge fan of the hardcore games. Hardcore games make me powerful and stronger because I'm extremely relentless when it comes to play. I'll not stop until I finally level, like, tire, of course, when I'm reaching my limit. As a result, I really enjoy those type of games. Obviously, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but hey, that's opinions. So it's just opinion. This is not your opinion, it's my opinion. Let me know which is your favorite Ghost and Goblins in the franchise. In this case, it was this game because I'm much more engulfed in that one as a result. And it was a really amazing game. And it was produced obviously by Tokuro Fujiwara, which was the producer as a result. The composer of this game was, you guessed it, Michiru Mari Masubuchi, which was one of the composers of Capcom and other projects. He made a fantastic job composing the game on the music, making more orchestra sound, which, you know, the Super Nintendo can pull off. Obviously, my favorite soundtrack is always been the castle. The that music and the snow level, those are my favorites on this game because they look really amazing. Like I mentioned before, it was composed by Yamane and other stuff. And as a result, this game is not an easy game necessarily. It's quite brutal, I will say. Really, really brutal. And obviously the gameplay works. It works like this. You have 7 levels, each one difficult than the last. The worst one, in my opinion, is level 4. Worst because you rotate back and forth and you never know when to die. In level 3 you stuck out forever, especially those god annoying red animers. That's right. Speaking of red animers, this is the character. If you see right there, this little guy shows up in this game because, fun trivia, the red animer, also known as Firebrand, but in my opinion I prefer red animer. The red animer was created first before Ser Arto as the pursuit of the gargoyles, obviously, because it's one of the devils of the game, of course. As a result, check out Gamer.org. I'll put the channel, of course. You will find out, though it's in Spanish. You basically want to review both games. He did review and yo, that guy shows up on level 3, level 4. Most annoying things. What they do is they fly over there, zoop and zoop. That's it. They don't give you any chances. You have to be very careful with those guys. And Demon's Crest is also in the Gargoyle's Quest game. They were awesome, but in this case they were a bunch of jerks. I will say they just fly over the place. It's one of the most hated enemies of all time. As a result, they were awesome in Gargoyle's Quest, but not in this series. And second, they were spin-off, which, by the way, Maxim was another spin-off of the Ghouls and Ghosts. But I'm not gonna go all the franchise. That will be a long ass video, so I'm not gonna get into that. Anyways, so the levels on each level much harder than the last. There's a checkpoint in the middle on the level. Once you defeat the boss, you move in the next area, and so on. That is until you level 6, which the treasure cells you need to find the wrestler to defeat Sarulius. They do the same thing and beat him, which is predictable. Each weapon is better than the last, of course. Obviously, the best weapons are the dagger, or get the knife, quote from the VDN, and the arrows. The arrows and the dagger, both are the most useful. Especially when the arrows can shoot like a homing missile. The only disadvantage is one of the arrows didn't hit it, you stuck with nothing. Well, the daggers you can shoot faster, but you can only shoot straight, not up and down like the previous game, Ghouls and Ghosts. As a result, and that's about it. There's another weapons that show up, such as the. There's two axes. One is they throw like a disc, and the other is like a whoop whoop whoop, which is pretty useless. Then there's the flame, which is not my favorite weapon at all, but some people like that. It's the most powerful, but it's ridiculously slow. Then there's the javelin, the traditional one. But me personally, once I get the dagger, I'm immediately not gonna choose the weapon unless it's necessary, which is my type of gameplay, of course. Mine, of course. As a result, this is one of those things that if you want to play this game, make sure it is an original console. On the original SNES, that is fine. On the Junior, there are some classical glitches, which they documented on the 1 generation and the Junior, which see like a glitches in the top of the screen. Me personally, it's nothing special. It's just a minor thing. Since I grew up with the Junior, it's nothing. It doesn't affect me. Only the ones to use the original SNES. But again, it's just a minor thing. It's not a game breaking. But it truly is a game breaking. Is when you use this game, this game, on a clone console. What I mean by that, when you use a clone console, let's say you had a Super Retro Trio 3, alright? You put this game on the SNES, you instantly play it, you think you want to beat the game, but nope, when you reach the level 3, you come by a surprise. The boss, the caterpillar of the boss is gone. Gone. Why? The Mode 7. The bosses use the Mode 7 to, remember, just quick note, the Mode 7, what it does on the SNES is scale, rotation, and amplification and reduction of the object on the screen. Check out Game Explains Everything video of the Mode 7. Link is down below for more detail about the Mode 7. He explained much better than me, for sure. Anyways, check out his channel. Yes. Anyway, what it does, the creature is, it shows up on the screen, it rotates, then it's peaceful, and then expand and disappears. That's how it works on original SNES. Well, in this game, since the Mode 7 is not available on those clone consoles, they don't really put an effort. It's gone. It's invisible. You don't see it, making it quite really brutally impossible and almost nearly impossible to beat free. You're pretty much stuck forever unless you're really that masochistic to defeat it. But then you see level 4, things are getting even more south. The background is missing. You only see the sprites. Literally, you don't see nothing. You see the sprites. The background is gone. Once again, because you used the Mode 7. And as a result, without the Mode 7, you can't see the rotation. So you're pretty much stuck there. And that's when your gameplay stopped there. And no, not just the Retro Trio. Almost all the clone console except the Retron 5, because Retron 5 is an emulator box. Nothing else. You're pretty much stuck, sincerely. So you have to own an original Super Nintendo. This is one of those games that requires to own a Super Nintendo, not just any clone. Luckily, emulators doesn't suffer the same fate. So if you had an emulator such as SNES 9X, or the infamous Retron 5, or the SNES Classic Edition, you don't have the problem, sincerely, because you're pretty much safe. But in clone consoles, you're pretty much stuck as a result. Now I'm gonna play this game. Be warned, the gameplay is pretty long because I die a ton on the game just to get up to level 4. So as a result, you will see a lot of cuts and a lot of skipping just to go faster to show the levels as a result. So be warned. Anyway, let's pop this game in my SNES Studio and time to rescue the princess and defeat Sarodius. Let's do it. I hope you enjoyed this video of Super Ghouls and Ghosts. In fact, it is really amazing, sincerely. It's just an amazing title for the Ghost and Goblins franchise. Now, after that game, well, nothing much to it. That was the last game until Ultimate Ghouls and Ghosts, which on the PSP. And that's about it. There's nothing much to it on the Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Though the game was not really available on the Super Nintendo, it was also re-released on the Game Boy Advance, known as Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Game Boy Advance, obviously. And it was a game that is like a modification of the original game, only they have new levels and new stuff on it. So if you want to check it out, you can enjoy it, sincerely. Only the difference is the music is quite a little bit different, since the Game Boy Advance does not emulate against the Super Nintendo, so they had to make another brand new game as a result. It was released on 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. There's also censorization on internationally. Obviously, the Japanese game, in Japanese, it's called Chōmakaimura on Japanese. In the Japanese game, you see crosses on the first part of the level. You see crosses. They're big as X in the North America version. The final boss, the name is different. In the Japanese version, it's called Samuel. In the American, it's Sarodus. As a result, in the European version, they remove some obstacles and obstacles and certain enemies to reduce slowdown, since the American and the Japanese suffer for a lot of slowdown, and it happens a lot in the game, since the game there's a lot of assets on it. And there's some removes, a lot of stuff. I'll put some of the stuff they remove very quickly, mentioned in the video. I don't need to explain that all, so it is. Interested? As a result, and if you want to know more about the defensive version, check out the channel is Jesus, I forgot the website. I'll put the website right there, and the link is down below if you want to check it out for more articles. As a result, and of course later on, Capcom released Demon's Crest, which was an amazing title, one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. It's not my second favorite, of course. I did review this game already in last year. Of course, check out the video. It's down there, and the gameplay. Link notification right there. Check it out. So as well, if you haven't seen the Resident Evil on N64 version as well, there as well. Check it out. Yes. So as a result, Capcom was synonymous of horror games, which they're not afraid. They tried a lot of stuff. Ghouls and Ghosts, Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, a lot of the games that made the game. And that's what, so Capcom was a company that really popped their games. It made the success, they make it amazing, and what do you expect? It's an amazing classic game. And if you want to play the game nowadays, like I mentioned, either the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy Advance, as well the Super Nintendo, and then as the Super Nintendo online service on the Switch. Either of those you can play it. And they have save states, so if you one of those don't want to suffer a load, you can save the game in save state and save the pain in others, which a lot of the modern gamers benefit for it, but purists prefer the old-fashioned. Anyways, that's it for this video, my friends. I hope you enjoyed. For more stuff, I'll show later on. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day, and see you next time. And happy Halloween, my friends. Take care.